Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, very good. So now we continue chi-square test. Okay. So have you remember what is the formula of test of goodness of fit to calculate chi-square? Anybody? What is the formula of chi-square test of goodness of fit? Please reply. Have you remember? No. So, so what is the meaning of test of goodness of fit? So now I repeat. Test of goodness of fit enables us to find the deviation in experiment from theory is just by chance. And formula is chi-square is equal to summation OI minus EI whole square divided by EI. Okay, where OI is known as your observed frequency and EI is known as our expected frequency. Then you come to what are the conditions for validity of chi-square test? Anybody? So please reply. What are the conditions for the validity of chi-square test? Anybody?
So samples observation should be independent.
Yes. Second.
Chi-squared, it should be a continuous distribution.
No, no, no. Summation of OI must be equal to summation of VI equal to capital N. Second point. Then third point. No theoretical cell frequency should be less than 5. Okay. And total numbers of observations should be reasonably large, say greater than 50. Okay. So please remember it. So we have already discussed the applications of chi-square test. So the first application we have discussed to test the significance of population variances from the hypothetical value population variances. Second, you have already discussed test of goodness of fit, and you have also already discussed the test of independence of attributes. So test of independence of attributes can be discussed in the contingency table. Okay. So now we write a theorem. So we write a theorem in 2 by 2 contingency table. Now prepare a 2 by 2 contingency table, that is A, B, C and D. Prove that chi-square test of independence give chi-square is equal to capital N AD minus BC whole square and whole divided by A plus C into B plus D into A plus B into C plus D, where A plus B plus C plus D is equal to capital N, that is total numbers of frequency. So this theorem is very important in BPSC or in UPSC test. Generally this theorem will be asked. So you have to show that in 2 by 2 contingency table, that is A, B, C, D, you have to show that chi-square test is equal to N under bracket AD minus BC whole square whole divided by A plus C into B plus D into A plus B into C plus D, where N is equal to A plus B plus C plus D. So its proof is very simple. Okay. So now we'll see its proof. So under hypothesis of independence of attributes. So remember it, our null hypothesis is what? Two attributes are independent to each other. So have we prepared 2 by 2 table? Now we add it. Now we make a row total and column total. So in last class, I have already discussed how we calculate expected value of A, B, C and D in 2 by 2 contingency table. So have you remember or not? Okay.
Sir.
So here expected value of A is equal to A plus B into A plus C divided by N. Similarly, expected value of B is equal to A plus B into B plus D divided by capital N, and expected value of C is equal to A plus C into C plus D divided by capital N, and expected value of D is equal to B plus D into C plus D divided by capital N. Now then we may write, now we know that chi square is equal to, so remember it, chi square is equal to OI minus EI whole square divided by EI. So here this is your formula, A minus E whole square divided by expected A plus B minus EB whole square divided by expected B plus C minus expected C whole square divided by expected C plus D minus ED whole square divided by expected D. See, up to here it is clear?
Yes, sir.
Very good. And now you will find in numerator part you have seen that A minus expected value of A, in second term B minus expected value of B, and in third term C minus expected value of C, and in fourth term D minus expected value. So now we'll find what is the value of A minus expected value of A. Okay, so this is equal to nothing but here I have written A minus expected value of A. So A remains as such, and now in place of expected A, we simply put the value of A plus B into A plus C divided by N. So in place of expected value of A, we put the value A plus B into A plus C upon N, and now we simplify it. If you simplify it, then you take the LCM. So your LCM is capital N. So here you have write in place of, in numerator part, in place of N, we put A plus B plus C plus D into it. A remains as such, and then A plus B minus it remains as such. And now this is simple algebra. Simply break the small bracket. That is, if you multiply A by this A, then you will get A square. If A is multiplied by B, then you will be like this, and you simplify it, then you will get AD minus BC divided by capital N. Just you see, so after simplification, you will get the value of A minus expected value of A is equal to AD minus BC divided by capital N. And similarly, you will get the value of B minus expected value of B is equal to minus AD minus BC divided by N. And this is equal to also C minus expected value of C. So you may simplify it. In the second case, you also put what is the value of expected value of B, then, and in third term you also put the expected value of D, and you will get the value like this. So this is your home assignment. Please note down. Now you complete it. What is the value of B minus expected value of E? What is the value of D minus expected value of D? And what is the value of C minus expected value of C? And then you will find that the B minus expected value of B after simplification you will get minus AD minus BC divided by N and is equal to C minus expected value of C. So the value of B minus expected value of B and the value of C minus expected value of C are same, and that is equal to minus AD minus BC divided by capital N. And now we put the value of A minus expected value of A, B minus expected value of B, C minus expected value of C, and D minus expected value of D in our equation 1. Equation 1 is equal to what? That is equal to, this is your equation 1, that is chi square is equal to A minus E A whole square divided by A plus B minus expected value of B whole square divided by B plus C minus expected value of C whole square divided by C plus D minus expected D divided by D. In this equation, if you put the value of A minus expected value of whole square from here and then you simplify it, then you will get your result. Okay, so this is your homework. Now you will exercise it. So in your all term, AD minus BC whole square divided by N square are common. That's why I take outside from the bracket. So now we proceed further. This is your home assignment. Please make exercise. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we come to the contingency table. So here if A and B are two attributes, remember it. Suppose A and B are two attributes. Suppose A is your beauty and B is our intelligentsia. Okay. So here there are two attributes, beauty and intelligentsia. So it is not necessary that all beauty individual are intelligent also or intelligent individual are beauty also. That's why we come to the contingency table. So here our attributes A is divided into R class, that is A1 A2 AR, and attribute B is divided into S class, that is B1 B2 BS. Such a classification in which attributes are divided into more than two cases is known as manifold classification. So do you know what is the meaning of manifold classification and simple classification? Anybody? So remember it, when classification is done on the basis of only one attribute, that is on the basis of only one qualitative characteristics, then it comes under simple classification. Okay, or it is also known as classification by dichotomy. And when classification is done on the basis of two or more than two attributes, it comes under your manifold classification. Okay, so suppose your Indian population is divided into on the basis of one attribute, that is sex. So it is divided into male and female. And suppose again it is divided on the basis of education. Your education is suppose graduate. So again in India you will get how many graduate and how our population are non-graduate in both case of male and female, like this. And again, if it is divided into literacy, then again you will get like this: how many people are literate and how many people are illiterate in case of both male and female, like this. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
here the number of person possessing attributes AI, and BJ is the number of person possessing both attributes BJ, and AI BJ is the number of person possessing both attributes. Remember it. So this is your contingency table. So now we generalize it. Here, this is generalize it. So what is the null hypothesis in contingency table? That is, under null hypothesis, now that is, attributes are independent to each other. Remember it, attributes are independent to each other. I will provide this note. Don't bother. Okay. So here you have seen that. Said, have you remember what is the formula of probability? Anybody? Probability is equal to how much? No. Probability is equal to favorable number of cases divided by exhaustive number of cases. So in the course study 511, I have already discussed this. Probability, this is favorable number of cases divided by exhaustive number of cases. So here, this is probability of AI. This is equal to probability that person possesses the attribute AI. And this is equal to nothing but AI, this is favorable number of cases of for A attributes, and N is the exhaustive number of cases, this is total number of cases. Similarly, here probability of Bj is equal to probability that a person possesses both attribute Bj is equal to Bj divided by capital N. Here J is equal to 1 to S, and here I is equal to 1 to R. And remember it, probability of AI Bj, that is the probability that a person possesses the attributes AI and Bj. So this is equal to nothing but probability of AI into probability of Bj. Then by compound probability theorem, since the attribute AI and Bj are independent, so under the null hypothesis, your probability of AI into Bj is equal to nothing but, simply break it, so AI into N into Bj upon N. And Aj Bj suffix 0 is known as expected number of persons possessing both attributes AI and Bj. And this is equal to AI into Bj divided by capital N. So this is equal to AI into Bj divided by capital N. And by using this formula, we can find out the expected frequency for each of the cell frequencies AI Bj under the null hypothesis of independent substitute, that like this: chi square is equal to double summation. On the first summation, I is equal to 1 to R, and second summation varies from J is equal to 1 to S. This is equal to nothing but AI Bj, this is equal to observed frequency, and minus AI Bj suffix naught, this is equal to expected frequency whole square divided by AI into Bj naught. And this is equal to nothing but double summation Fij into Eij whole square divided by Eij. So here your Fij, this is the observed frequency for contingency table. I have already discussed in 2 by 2 condition table, and EIJ, this is the expected frequency for contingency table category in column I and column J with R-1 and S-1 degree of freedom. So now I will provide this note on contingency table and its correction for continuity, and simply verify it. Now we come to the its correction for continuity. So in 2 by 2 contingency table, the number of degree of freedom, that is 1. If any one of the theoretical cell frequency is less than 5, then use of pooling method for chi-square test results in chi-square with 0 degree of freedom. Since 1 degree of freedom is lost in pooling, that's why it is meaningless. So we come for the correction, that is correction this is given by so remember it, if what are the conditions for the validity of chi-square test? We have seen that if cell frequency is less than 5, then you cannot, the continuity of chi-square test cannot be maintained. That's why we go for its correction for continuity. So this is nothing but we simply add 0.5 and you also subtract 0.5 in each cell. We have already discussed in 2 by 2 contingency table, this is equal to n into AD minus BC whole square and whole divided by A plus C into B plus D into A plus B into C plus D. Now we, according to its correction as explained above, we subtract or add 0.5 from A and D and add and subtract half to B and C like this. So here you check it, here A minus plus half into D minus plus half. Now we add in A and D we subtract, that's why in B and C we add. So here you may write B plus minus half into C plus minus half and then whole square. And after simplification you also get like this, chi-square is equal to n into AD minus BC mod minus n upon 2 whole square, and denominator part remains as such, that is A plus C into B plus D into A plus B into C plus D. So it is just like how we convert discrete frequency distribution into continuous. So it remains like this. So have you understand or not? Have you understand? क्लियर हुआ कि नहीं जी?
Yes. Yes.
हाँ, कुछ नहीं
Yes,
है,
yes.
कुछ नहीं है, प्रत्येक सेल में से हम यदि 0.5 जैसे ऐड करेंगे तो फिर घटाएंगे, फर्स्ट मान लो ऐड करें, सेकंड में हम घटा देंगे, कहीं कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। तो एड्स करेक्शन क्यों करते हैं? कंटिन्यूटी मेंटेन करने के लिए, याद रखिएगा, क्योंकि जैसे ही मेरा सेल फ्रीक्वेंसी लेस देन 5 होगा तो मेरा chi-square टेस्ट का जो कंटिन्यूटी मेंटेन नहीं हो पाता है। उस कंटिन्यूटी को, क्योंकि chi-square टेस्ट मेरा कंटिन्यूअस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है, उस कंटिन्यूटी को मेंटेन करने के लिए हम लोग एड्स करेक्शन फॉर कंटिन्यूटी करते हैं। So this correction was given by F. Yates in 1934 That's why it is known as your Yates correction for continuity. So now I summarize the chi-square test. Okay. So first of all, we have discussed what is the meaning of chi-square variate. Then what are the conditions for the validity of chi-square test. Then what are the applications for chi-square test. And we have also discussed the examples based on test of goodness of fit and based on independence of attributes. And we have also discussed what is the meaning of contingency table and what is the meaning of its correction for continuity. So this finishes your chi-square test. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now we come to jet test. So then you write test of significance for large sample. So we know that for large sample, most of the distribution like binomial, Poisson, negative binomial distribution tends to normal distribution. So we have already discussed in the course stat 511 what are the importance of normal probability curve or normal distribution. So one point is also that for most of the distribution like binomial, Poisson, negative binomial tends to normal distribution for large sample. So here we have already discussed if your random variable x follows normal distribution with mean mu and variance sigma square, then z is equal to x minus mu divided by sigma is known as a standard normal variate with mean 0 and variance 1. So here in place of x it remains as such, and in mu is equal to what? Mu is negated by mean. That's why we may little like this expected value of x. And sigma, this is the standard deviation. In place of a standard deviation, simply put, this is the variance of x. And we know that a square of a standard deviation is known as variance. That's why x minus mu divided by sigma, it can be also written like this, like x minus expected value of x and divided by under root variance of x. And this follows a standard normal variate with mean 0 and variance 1. And in area property of normal probability curve, we have also discussed like this. What is the area lies between minus 3 to plus 3? That is probability of minus 3 is less than equal to z, is less than equal to minus 3, and this is equal to nothing but 0.9973. So we have already discussed in the course stat 511 that is area property under the normal probability curve. That is the what is the area lies between mu plus minus 3 sigma. So this is equal to nothing but 0.993. So this property, this area property will be used in jet test. So under jet test will be discussed first application, that is equal to test of significance for single proportion. So under jet test you may write test of significance for single proportion. So if x is the number of success in n independent trials with constant probability p. So have you remember the what is the probability mass function of binomial distribution? Anybody? So what is the probability mass function of binomial distribution, and what are the mean of binomial distribution, and what is the variance of binomial distribution? Have you remember? No. So I have already discussed in a stat 511. If a random variable x is said to follow binomial distribution, if its probability mass function is given like this, ncx into p to the power x into q to the power n minus x. So where x vary from 0, 1, 2, 3 like this up to n, and where p is known as probability of success and q is known as probability of failure and n is known as numbers of trials. So here expected value of x, that is mean of binomial distribution, is equal to np, and variance of binomial distribution is equal to npq. So here expected value of x is equal to np and variance of x is equal to npq, and q is equal to nothing but 1 minus p. So we know that total probability is equal to 1. So that's why q is equal to 1 minus p. This is the probability of failure. So it has been proved that for large n, binomial distribution tends to normal distribution. So for large n, x follows normal distribution with mean np and variance npq. So remember it, n and so mean of binomial distribution is np and variance of binomial distribution is equal to npq. So here n is the numbers of trials, p is the probability of success, and q is the probability of failure. So your z statistic will be nothing but z is equal to x minus expected value of x and divided by variance of x. So in place of x, it remains as such x, and in place of ex, we put ex is equal to what? Is equal to mean. So in place of mean, we put np, and in place of variance, we put npq. So your z statistic, it is also written like this, that is x minus expected value of x and divided by variance of x under square root and is equal to x minus np divided by under square root npq, and this follows a standard normal variate with mean 0 and variance 1. So in a sample of size n, let x be the number of persons possessing the given attribute, then observed proportion of success. Remember it, then observed proportion of success is equal to x upon n, and suppose this is equal to a small p. So what is x? Remember it, x is known as your number of person possessing any given attribute. So observed proportion is calculated by the formula x upon n. So now we take the expectation both sides. So this is equal to therefore expected value of p is equal to nothing but expect in place of p we simply put x by n. So this is equal to expected value of x by n. So this is equal to nothing but 1 upon n into expected value of x, and this is equal to nothing but 1 upon n into expected value of x, that is mean, and in place of mean we simply put np. So n is considered out, so it remains as such p. So this shows that sample proportion, that is a small p, gives an unbiased estimate of population proportion. So the formula to calculate population proportion and sample proportions both are same. Now we calculate the variance. What is the variance for p? So variance for p, in place of p simply put x upon n. and here our n is at a magnitude. That's why after taking variance it is multiplied. That's why 1 upon n square into variance of x, and in place of, again in a stat 511 you have discussed a theorem like variance of ax plus b is equal to a square into variance of x, where a and b are constant, and due to this formula here, after taking variance, n becomes a square. That's why 1 upon n square into variance of x, and in place of variance of x we simply put npq. So here 1 upon n square into npq, so n is cancelled out, so it remains as such pq upon n. So a standard error for p is equal to pq upon root n. So standard error for p is equal to under square root pq upon n. So since x and consequently x upon n is asymptotically normally distributed for large n, so the normal test for the proportion of success becomes z is equal to a small p minus expected value of a small p divided by a standard error of p, and this is equal to nothing but simply p, and in place of expected p, capital P, and a standard error of p, from here you may write pq upon root n. So here under square root pq upon n. So this follows a standard normal variate with mean 0 and variance 1. So your formula to test the significance of proportion, there are two formula. One formula is like this: z is equal to a small p minus capital P divided by under square root pq upon n, follows a standard normal variate with mean 0 and variance 1. So I have written here, where small p this is equal to sample proportion and is equal to capital X upon n. Capital P this is equal to population proportion, n this is the sample size, and capital Q this is equal to 1 minus p. Or you may write like this: z is equal to x minus np divided by under square root npq. This follows a standard normal variate with mean 0 and variance 1. So here x is the number of success and p this is probability of success. So remember it, there are two formula to find the test of significance of proportion. So here z is equal to a small p minus capital P divided by under square root capital PQ upon n, and another formula is equal z is equal to x minus np divided by under square root npq, and this follows a standard normal variate with a mean 0 and variance 1. So in z test already you use area property of normal probability curve. So already given you the value of z. See, under first application, we may write your first application like this: test of significance for single proportion. So test of significance for single proportion, we have discussed two statistics. First statistic is like this, that is z is equal to p minus p, that is small p minus capital P divided by under square root pq upon n. So where small p this is equal to sample proportion, capital P this is equal to population proportion, and q this is equal to nothing but 1 minus capital P. And remember it, another formula that is equal to Z is equal to capital X minus NP divided by under square root NPQ, and this follows normal distribution, that is standard normal variate with mean 0 and variance 1. So remember it, X is what? So X is the number of success and P, this is the probability of success. See, if you will be solve example, then it will be clear. And second application you may write test of significance of difference proportion. Second application you may write test of significance of difference proportion. So test of significance of difference proportion. Under the H naught you may write H naught is equal to P1 is equal to P2. So our null hypothesis, that is P1 is equal to P2. And for this hypothesis, we apply Z is equal to P1 minus P2, P1 minus P2 whole divided by under square root PQ under bracket 1 upon N1 plus 1 upon N2. And this follows a standard normal variate with mean 0 and variance 1. Here P is estimated by, this is estimated value of P. So this is equal to nothing but N1 into P1 plus N2 into P2 divided by N1 plus N2. So P, capital P is estimated by this formula, this is N1 into P1 plus N2 into P2 divided by N1 plus P2, and this is equal to nothing but X1 plus X2 divided by N1 plus N2. And if you take the expected value for P hat, then it remains as such, this is equal to capital P. And a small P1, this is equal to X1 upon N1, and a small P2 is equal to X2 upon N2. Where X1 and X2 are the number of persons possessing the given attributes A in a random sample of sizes N1 and N2 from the two populations respectively. So remember it, this is the formula to test the significance of difference of proportion. So in Z test, we have discussed two applications. That is, first application is this, that is test of significance for single proportion, and second application is test of difference proportion. So again I am repeating, test of significance of single proportion. You have two statistics. First is like this one, that is Z is equal to a small p minus capital P under square root capital PQ upon N, and another statistic that is equal to Z is equal to X minus NP divided by under square root NPQ. And in test of significance of difference proportion, your H naught, that is P1 is equal to P2. So this is equal to P1 minus P2 divided by under square root PQ into 1 upon N1 plus यहाँ N2 कर देना 1 upon N1 plus 1 upon N2 follows a standard normal variate with mean 0 and variance 1. So have you understand or not? Have you understood them? Have you understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
समझे कि कोई दिक्कत है जी?
नहीं सर।
हाँ, इस पर एग्जाम्पल करोगे ना तो और स्पष्ट हो जाएगा। अभी एग्जाम्पल एक लिखोगे कि कल करेंगे? हेलो, लिखा है
Yes, sir.
कि कल?
Well, sir.
क्या
कल करेंगे।
कल की? हाँ, नहीं, आज एक बार आप क्या करो ना, आज ही एक बार ही आप लोग इसको स्टडी ठीक से करो। इसे मैंने बताया 3 चीज आपको आज, मैंने किस तरह से थ्योरम मैंने 2/2 कंटीजेंसी टेबल ए बी सी डी में हम प्रूव करते हैं, उसको देख लीजिए। फिर एक कंटीजेंसी टेबल समझ लीजिए क्या है। फिर एड्स करेक्शन फॉर कंटिन्यूटी क्या है देख लीजिए। फिर जेड टेस्ट किसे कहते हैं? जेड टेस्ट जब हमारा सैंपल साइज लार्ज हो, मैंने n से ग्रेटर देन 30 हो तो लार्ज सैंपल टेस्ट करते हैं। लार्ज सैंपल टेस्ट जेड टेस्ट कहते हैं उसको। जेड टेस्ट क्या है? तो इसका मैंने हम लोग 2 एप्लीकेशन पर है, तो इसको आप हम नोट आप लोग तो लिख नहीं पाए होंगे। हेलो,
Yes, sir.
स्लाइड नहीं
हाँ,
नोट
सर।
कर पाए होंगे ना?
नहीं
हाँ, सर।
लिख रहे हैं
हाँ,
बच्चा है।
हाँ, इसको अभी मैं भेज दे रहा हूँ आपको नोट, ठीक है? और इसको थोड़ा सा
ठीक है,
आप मेल से हम इसको भेज देते हैं, इसको आप ठीक से स्टडी कर लो और इसको पढ़ना, तब फिर हम डिस्कस करेंगे, ठीक? कोई दिक्कत नहीं।
ठीक है।
सो नाउ वी
ठीक है।
स्टॉप हियर, ओके?
यस यस सर।
ठीक है, थैंक यू
टी
वेरी मच।
टेस्ट का
क्या
इसको टेस्ट
बोलिए?
वाले भी भेज देना।
क्या क्या? अच्छा, वो टी टेस्ट एफ टेस्ट का भी नोट भेज देंगे?
Yes, sir.
ओके ओके, ठीक
सर
यस सर।
ठीक
पूरा
ठीक है, मेल से भेज देते हैं। ठीक ठीक, ओके ओके, ठीक है, डोंट बॉदर,
ओके सर।
Thank
अभी
you.
तुरंत भेज देते हैं, ठीक है? सब मेल चेक कर लेना, ठीक है?
यस सर।
ओके,
सर
ठीक है, थैंक यू वेरी मच, ओके। सो नाउ स्टॉप हियर, ओके,
यस सर।
ठीक। बंद करो।
डॉक्टर